Democratic Congressman from California, Brad Sherman. Congressman, thanks for joining us tonight. You have said that you wanted to see the president in an unscripted environment, basically in prime time, late in the evening. This was pretty close to that kind of scenario. Should Biden stay in this race or should he step aside?
I'd still like to see some additional presentations. This was, all of the questions were either about Biden's health or about foreign policy. The voters are going to make their decision based on domestic policy and especially economic policy. And that's what I think was missing. But Biden promised that this press conference is just the beginning or a continuation of his efforts to try to put the June 27th debate behind us. And I think he's got more to do, but he took an important step tonight.
I mean, it sounds like you're saying you're willing to give him time. The question is how much time? I mean, you guys are about a little over a month before your convention. The national narrative, the mindset of the voters is kind of setting in at this point. Do you feel like you're close to making a decision about whether or not you're going to make a statement clearly one way or another on this?
Ultimately, it's not my decision. There are two possible decision makers. One is Biden himself, who tonight was less defiant, indicated that he would go forward if he thought he was the best candidate. His campaign is even doing some polling to determine whether that's the case. And it's ultimately the decision of the delegates who will meet on August 20th, will meet on the 19th and should be voting on the 20th. There's some possibility that the vote would be virtual and in early August. But that still gives us time for Biden to do what he's promised to do, and that is to assuage our concerns and hopefully to make June 27th recede. Look, is Biden the perfect candidate? No. We have a very deep bench, and we could have a big argument as to which of those people we should nominate. But if any process that gives it to anyone other than Biden would be a very messy process and would hobble that candidate, whereas only Biden can say he got the votes of, I believe it's 14 million Democrats to be our nominee. So we need to,
Congressman, like you're
we need to see
skeptical.
how he performs.
It does, though, sound like you are skeptical of the idea that he should simply step aside and perhaps the party should elevate the vice president. You're sounding to me like somebody who doesn't really think that that's a viable alternative.
He will be doing more events. We will be appraising him every day right up until August 20th.
That's exactly the scenario, by the way. Congressman, that scenario that you just laid out, that is exactly what your colleague, Jim Himes, said was completely untenable. Do you think it's tenable for every day you and your colleagues to be holding your breath about whether or not something bad is going to happen?
Look, this is a presidential race, and every day you're looking at Donald Trump and his Project 2025. And him trying to disassociate himself with a plan to take away our democracy. This is a very close race. This is a race that has riveted all of our attention, and every day these candidates have to prove themselves. That being said, only if Biden is convinced that he should pull out is there a clean way to get to the next step, and even that next step is messy, and that's picking another candidate. Obviously, the vice president would be in the most likely position to get that, and it might be a clean handoff. It might be a fight at the convention floor. So we're in a difficult circumstance. We're in a close race. Each candidate is evaluated every day. I wish Biden had had a spectacular debate on June 27th and we weren't having this conversation. But it's hard to pick a perfect answer to the situation we're in. And by God, it's never been more important.
Wow, no perfect answers here, or rarely are there any perfect answers in politics. Congressman Brad Sherman, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it.